Yo, what's up? What's up, guys? Yes, we are talking about Idubbbz today.
Put your pussy fingers to the moon.
Now, I've already seen this video from Idubbbz. As you guys know, it came out a few days ago. I did give it one watch, and I've been letting it stew since it came out and just thinking about my thoughts on it. I've talked about it with a few other people. I watched a few minutes of Critical's reaction to it, which he just put out. I haven't seen the whole thing, unfortunately. But I just want to watch this. It's another kind of, crying and explaining video from Idubbbz, which we've obviously become pretty familiar with recently. But I think it should be interesting to see what he has to say about his old content, because he was teasing that this kind of video would come out for a while. He was saying, I think I'm going to have to make a video about my old content and address that. And it seems unnecessary to me. When I switch up my content or switch up my beliefs, I don't explain to people because I feel like the audience isn't owed an explanation because the audience isn't me. End of the day, however the audience feels about me, I feel like I have a right to do whatever I want, to think whatever I want. I feel like I have a right to just be my own person, not have to explain anything, And I think that by over-explaining, you tend to alienate a lot of people in the process. It tends to be a really bad, just bad. It tends to be bad. But regardless of that, I don't want to preemptively speak too much about it. We're going to get into this video by Idubbbz. I miss the old Idubbbz is the quote. We're going to watch it and give our thoughts. Let's give our takes. Let's give the turkey take. Okay, you guys are going to get the turkey take exclusive today.
And I think if I
start it over.
For a while, I felt like if I changed my content over time, that people would see that as a reflection of who I am and what I value. But I'm starting to realize that that is a very weak and passive way to, run my channel and live my life. So I think it's, if I'm going to have the balls to go to Tana's fan meetup and say slurs at her and then make a video about how it's okay to say slurs, I think I should have the balls to make an apology video and take accountability for the mistakes I've made. So that's what this video is.
Right off the bat, I have a big sort of criticism of this video, and that's that he opens up in the first 49 seconds by saying, hey guys, I feel like I should have the balls to explain myself. And I think that he actually is showing more cowardly behavior by explaining himself, because realistically the fans that don't care that he changed, they don't need an explanation. They already get it. You know what I mean? They don't need you to come out and say this is why I don't say the N-word anymore. They don't need that. The people who want that are people like me who don't like what he's turned into, don't like the current direction of his channel. And so I think for that reason, it's very silly to try to explain yourself like this. There's a lot of creators who have changed over time. There's a lot, PewDiePie changed over time. He never came out and explained himself in this big way because he was getting heat. He explained himself in a barely in the most concise way possible in a 2-minute video when he needed to apologize for saying the N-word on stream because the media was going after him. That's all, though. Idubbbz says at this point he's made multiple videos and podcast appearances. It seems to be the only thing he talks about is how he doesn't like his old content. And it's your content at this point has become talking about your old self, And the stuff people remember is the content that was your old self. So this point, when you try to branch off, your entire brand and persona has been consumed by this for too long, He spent too much time on this, undoubtedly, I think that if you want to explain yourself, you can explain that through the content, through your actions, because actions speak much, much, much louder than words. My opinions, my tendencies, my beliefs have changed a lot, since I started YouTube when I was 14, and of course they have, because I'm almost 21 now. I'm almost a legal adult. I started viewing YouTube when I just started high school, so obviously my opinions changed, but I didn't ever feel the need to, every time my content's about to change, make a huge video sitting down, with a spotlight on me, looking like I'm being held hostage by terrorists, explaining myself to people, because I don't feel like you owe anyone an explanation. I just don't. I feel like you owe it to yourself to make the content you want, and apart from that, you don't really owe anyone. By doing this, he implicitly does imply that he owes people an explanation, that he owes people some kind of, even people who hate him. He implies that the people who hate him deserve some kind of apology. You know what I mean?
I need to be crystal clear about what I believe, so there's no room for ambiguity. I am responsible for creating a lot of hurtful and damaging content on this channel. And I've also created a culture of apathy and, a lot of cruelty as well. Some of the videos I've made have been very not edgy. I don't think they some of these videos were edgy. I think they were just outright cruel. So I don't want people to, get it confused about where I stand. I have made some cruel, hurtful content, and I need to acknowledge that, and I'm really sorry that it's taken me this long to acknowledge it.
And I don't really get this because he's talking about this as if he made like bullying videos on like people who were totally unsuspecting. All the people he made content cops on were already bullies in their own right. Like they would, for the most part. I mean, like the early ones were just like dumb prank videos, and those were like less extreme. But people like Rice Gum, people like Leafy, people like Tana, these people were bullies. They were stuck up, egotistical bullies, and they needed their ego checked, and they got it from him. And so I find it weird for him to claim that he made a lot of hateful, harmful content when it's like, end of the day, what did he even do? You know what I mean? Like he made videos making fun of like cringe lords who already were confrontational bullies who like to bully, like Keemstar. Like Keemstar needed that content cop. You know, he needed to be humbled. He needed to be brought back down to earth. I mean, and another part of it's also like, he's talking about this like he made videos abusing puppies or something, or like abusing animals, or he's talking about it like he like set off a bomb in the middle of a fucking church. Like, dude, you made like mean internet videos to people who are fine. Who are fine as like their careers. You didn't even hurt their career. It wasn't like it was a hit piece, but it's not like it was a hit piece that was like career destroying. Like they're all fine, bro. You have nothing to really worry about. I think if you asked Tana today, I mean, I saw her say this on, I think in No Jumper, she said that she felt like Content Cop was deserved. I think if you asked her today, she would say that it was deserved and she needed that to happen. If you ask Rice Gum's a little stuck up his own ass. He might not admit it. Leafy would probably admit he needed the content cop, I think. Keemstar thinks the content cop on him was funny. He probably is fine with it. So I really don't see who the victim is here, right? But I guess, we'll let him explain a little more. We're only a minute and a half in, right?
The content I'm talking about specifically are content cop videos and videos where I was just generally criticizing people for very lackluster reasons and, obviously didn't have any accountability online whatsoever on my end. I was morally grandstanding and acting as if I am any better than any of these people that I was making content cop videos on, and I'm not. I'm a human. I'm a real human who makes mistakes, and, I make a different set of mistakes than the people I was making videos on, but it doesn't matter. I don't think anyone deserves that level of cruelty or hate. It's also indoctrinated a lot of people into thinking that this is an okay way to behave, and it's not. It's super irresponsible and shitty. I am very insecure about my...
See, this I don't even understand in doctrine. Like, he's talking about this like he, like, created the alt-right, or, like, he created, like, a neo-Nazi cult. Like, dude, you made drama videos that were entertainment that people thought were funny, and that's it. Like, that's the end of it. That's where it needs to stop. Like, if you felt like saying the N-word was too much, like, okay, whatever. What it's a different year now. Like, maybe you got, woken up. Maybe the BLM riots made you more aware of police brutality or something. Whatever. If you want to have an opinion, whatever. But Content Cop as a whole is just internet flinging. It's like TMZ entertainment. You know what I mean? There's nothing serious about it. So I find it very confusing that he feels like once he feels the need to, I mean, you would think that he was like a war hero who killed a bunch of like, enemies of the US and now he's feeling sorry. Like, you made YouTube videos. It's not that serious. You made YouTube videos making fun of people on the internet who were making fun of others on the internet before that. So I don't really get it. I really don't get it. Isaac Ulian says, I know I sound like a massive soy boy by saying this, so I'm actually thankful that Idubbbz is being honest about what he wants for his channel. Strawberry Jam says, this video comes off as incredibly self-important, and Andrew A. pretends is making some cardio gains at the gym, ready to watch you fools. Hope all is well, man. Thank you. Hope all is well with you too, buddy.
My ability to create interesting content or like entertain. It's gotten better over the years, but it's something that I have struggled with constantly. And it's one of the reasons why I, kept making this hurtful content. I ended up pivoting it into other things because I felt bad about it, like innately. But it's still something that I struggle with. And I don't want you to interpret that as an excuse, but I hope that that is relatable to other creators who maybe struggle with the same thing. I'm not confident in my ability to entertain, and I think if I had to rely on my personality to entertain people, that I wouldn't have any amount of success.
But I find this very silly because his personality in the first place is what made Content Cop good. I think he almost misunderstands his own content and its appeal. Like, the drama stuff is funny, but everyone was doing drama videos in 2016. Everyone was. Leafy, Pyrocynical. I mean, Keemstar did drama videos, I guess. No fuckers. There were so many commentary channels back then. So many. And he was the most famous. Why is that? Because of the execution, because of the humor, because of the jokes, because of how well he picked people apart, because of the editing, because of him running around in the sewer with pickles. Like it's such a simple equation, you know what I mean? Like it's not just because he made fun of people. And some of his more popular videos as well was bad unboxing. He did way more bad unboxings than Content Cops, and people loved it. People watched every single one to the tune of 5 to 10 million views. You know what I mean? This insecurity, I feel bad for him, because it's such a like what happened to you? You literally have 7.54 million subscribers. You don't attribute any of that to your ability to make videos? I don't understand. That makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me.
And that is really hard to come to terms with.
I'm not saying you should be really egotistical about it, but it's like, dude, you clearly had like a formula and stuff. You had a sense of humor. You had a personality that people really liked and they related to you on. And now you're just like cowering in fear. Idubbbz just sucking up to the woke mob. He knows who butters his bread, and ever since the apocalypse, that's who you have to suck up to. H3 has an almost identical character arc. I think you're wrong, Obama phone Pro Max 5G. I think you're actually I think you're very wrong. I think that he genuinely thinks that this is the right thing to do. End of the day, you can say he's selling out. He's only gotten less views since he started this. His channel has only died. His fan base has like grown to hate him. Like, he doesn't have a lot to gain. He's gained nothing from this, right? The thing is, you say he knows who butters their bread. Plenty of YouTubers have chosen to stay, edgy, like privately behind the scenes. They just didn't make it in their content. You can stop saying the N-word on YouTube and still be funny. You can. It's possible. A lot of people do it. And I think beyond that, even without that sense of humor, you can still make entertaining content. You know what I mean? Like, if this was a money thing, if this was selling out, like, that would make sense. But he hasn't made like any money in years. He recently said that he hasn't made any money on his YouTube channel in like 2 years. I believe that, because his videos like suck and nobody watches them. I really don't think he sold out at all. I think he, if anything, he's made great sacrifices for this transition. I don't think it's a worthy transition, but he definitely hasn't like sold out for the purpose of money. Like, he's not made any more money. But Tom said the N-word, it killed millions. Very true. Thank you for the 2 Walkerman. Zordak the Zany for 5 says, if he's not confident in his ability to entertain, why did he become a YouTuber? Well, I guess, he's okay. That's kind of a misleading question, in fairness, because his content blew up, often being entertaining, and he developed an insecurity after because he felt like he couldn't make content that succeeds without talking about other people, right? That's what he's talking about. He must have been confident at one point and he lost that confidence, right? That would make sense to me.
I was being very bigoted in a lot of my videos, and I justified it because, I didn't think it was too serious. And I thought that people were going to see that I had good intentions, but that's so silly, Casual racism is still racism. Casual bigotry is still bigotry. And, I said a lot of things that I look back at and I cringe now, and I'm like, that is an awful thing to say. It doesn't matter what my intentions are. Like, if I'm hurting people, I'm hurting people.
And this, once again, is very silly because, of course, intentions matter. Of course, intentions matter. If he was doing this stuff to further a political narrative for the right or something, or the far right, like, that would be one thing. But that's not what he did. He made comedy videos that everyone got the joke. Everyone got the fucking joke. The most famous comedians in the world right now, the biggest, most famous people in the world, Bill Burr, Dave Chappelle, new up-and-comers like Shane Gillis, they make edgy jokes at the expense of certain groups. And that's okay, because people are in on the joke. They get that it's not like a legitimate hateful thing. It's just joking around. It's playing around. And that's what humor is. That's what humor is. Humor is the intention is clear. And he made the intention clear in his videos because he wasn't talking about, like, did anyone in chat actually think he was trying to spread anti-Semitic rhetoric when he called the Fine Bros greedy Jews? I didn't think that. Ominous Biscuits for 5 says, my problem with him coming out is though his old content is racist, is it implies that he thinks that's why his old fans liked him. That's also very stupid. Rusta0 for 20, thank you for the 20, says, if Ian shut up and just made airsoft fatty type docs without trying to get at someone like he did to Hyde, maybe even show himself having fun in his videos, none of his followers would be complaining like we are now. True. Very true.
And, who the knows what my intentions are. Like, sarcasm and like jokiness and jokey tone only goes so far, especially over the internet. Even in real life, that's like an impossible thing to know with 100% certainty.
But the thing is, this is the case with anything you say. With literally like any joke, any statement, like, someone will take it the wrong way. Someone will. There's this like famous tweet about being on Twitter, and it's obviously Twitter's very extreme. It's not like real society. It's not the real world. There's this saying, and it's like, if you tweet on Twitter, I like apples, someone in the replies would be like, so you hate oranges. Like, someone will always misinterpret what you say, even if you're the most charitable person possible, even if you spell it out. Someone will misinterpret what you say. And so you have to accept that. You have to live with that always and just do whatever the you want. If you really feel the need to explain your intentions, you can do that clearly through the humor. And if people don't get that, then they're retarded, and you should not respect them or have to kowtow to them. You know what I mean? Like, when I make a joke at the expense of someone, should I have to explain that, like, it's not that serious? Should I have to? When I make a joke about tipsters, goth mommies, do I have to explain that I actually don't really have any real investment in his marriage? No, I don't have to explain that. Because if you don't get that, you're a fucking idiot anyway. And even if you did explain it, people would find some way to be mad. So fuck that. You don't need to explain yourself. Do what you want. Be clear through the humor. Don't be a fucking autist, Ian. And you'll be good. You'll be good. You'll be fine.
I've just always had this dumb philosophy that I'm not responsible for, my audience and how they behave beyond what content I put out. And that's stupid. And it's led to a lot of hate and a lot of bad outcomes. And I just want to make it clear that I am absolutely responsible for my audience. And, I guess if you want to, look out for people who are red flags, it's definitely people who had my mentality that say, I'm not responsible for what my audience does. I know that
this once again is ridiculous. You're not responsible for what your audience does. You're not. If you explicitly tell them to do something, then you can be held to some level of responsibility. But at the end of the day, you can't treat people like babies. The audience has their own fucking brain. The audience does their own shit. The audience are their own people with their own thoughts, okay? Most of them are legal adults. If they make a bad decision, if they call their teacher like the N-word based on your video, that's not your fault. That's their fault for being retarded. And if their parents are upset, well, maybe their parents should have told that kid not to fucking call the teacher a racial slur, okay? That's not your fault. You made a YouTube video. No matter what you do online, there will be crazies, okay? There will be insane people who do certain things. It's not your fault. This is so fucking dumb, man. The first time I watched this video, I was less offended by it. Watching it again, it's sinking in how stupid this is, to be honest with you. Like, you may as well just post a video of yourself sucking a dick.
This apology isn't enough. I've clearly done a lot of damage.
People are responsible for their own shit. People have autonomy. Are you so high on your own shit that you think that you alone should hold responsibility for what your fans do? That is insane.
These videos have been up for a long time and have accumulated millions of views. I shouldn't be able to just make an apology video and walk away from it. This is something that I should live the rest of my life with, and I expect to. I've profited off of this bigoted content.
You should live the rest of your life. Once again, it's like he shot someone in the fucking head. It's like he was in part of organized crime or something. You made comedy videos, motherfucker. Get a grip. It's not that serious. How is this that hard to get through your fucking skull? Who convinced you that you need to have such guilt? I don't understand, man. Why don't your money where your mouth is and make more edgy content like you did 3 years ago? Because you get banned for it. And this is the thing. I don't blame Idubbbz for changing his content. I don't. You can't do the shit he used to do on YouTube. Because even with the Leafy video, for example, right? That got taken down. I don't blame anyone for changing out of self-preservation. Like, if you do blame someone for that, then you're broke and you don't understand what making money is and running a business and having a career. You know what I mean? I don't blame Max Mofo and anything for views for not being as edgy as they were back then. I don't blame anyone for changing their stuff because you just can't get away with the same shit. You can't, If you want to make money, it makes sense. I don't like when people, and in his case, he's not even acting out of self-preservation. He's acting because he thinks he's morally obligated to. I don't have a problem with people acting out of self-preservation. I have a problem with them lying about it and grandstanding. That's what I have a problem with. And I don't think he's doing that because, once again, he hasn't preserved anything. He's he's irrelevant now or whatever. But I have a problem with people who act out of self-preservation and then pretend it's nothing and then pretend it's different. That's what I have a problem with. Put your money where your mouth is. I'm putting my money in my bank account, motherfucker. Fuck my mouth. My mouth has nothing to do with my money. My money's going in the bank and it's stacking. The saucy stuff stays on Discord. That's my mentality with that one.
For years.
Andy Keith for 10 says, yo, you literally bullied the guy into feeling insecure about his content and ability to be human. You don't have a leg to stand on in determining whether he's fit or not in his apology. What do you mean I don't have a leg to stand on? You think I'm the reason he did this? Ability to be... What the fuck are you talking about? You think I'm the reason why he made this video? I guess I'm part of that crowd. You don't have a leg to stand on in determining whether he's fit or not in his apology. Why can't I have a leg to stand on? It's my opinion, motherfucker. I can talk about whatever I want. He should feel insecure about his content because ever since he stopped doing Content Cop, his content has sucked. I mean, apart from the Airsoft Fatty video was good. The Dax Flame video I found boring, but I think it was a good video. I think it was. But yeah, other than that, a lot of it's just been man. Keep the critical donos, by the way. More of those. More to talk about.
And I've made a successful career out of it. And that's not right. I think this is only a step in the right direction. And I know that a lot more needs to be done to even approach a life that I would think would be like acceptable. I am running ads on this video, and any revenue generated from this video, I'm going to match and donate to an organization that would have been particularly effective.
I should listen to the haters, though. It's good to listen to the haters. It's good to listen to that. Let me die. Why are you so mad? Jumped on the pyrocynical allegations? Bro, if you want to debate me on the pyrocynical allegations, I will destroy you. I will destroy your fucking life, okay? I will end you.
By the type of rhetoric that I've been spewing on this channel. And again, this isn't the end of what I'm doing. This is just the start. I don't feel like a lot of this content represents me as a person, at least not anymore. There was a time where it probably perfectly represented me because I was a nasty, apathetic, insecure person. Now that I don't feel like it represents me and I want to distance myself from it and keep it from, indoctrinating more people, I'd like to unlist the videos so that people, can access them still for whatever, purposes they might want to do that for.
I'm glad he's not deleting them outright. That's good.
But it's not being proliferated on the
archival
website.
Purposes, you know what I mean?
I feel like that's the best solution, at least for the time being.
One day Nice is going to outgrow him, videos, and it's going to be hilarious to see his reaction, but by then I wonder if anyone will be watching.
An example and a lesson for you. You can like content, but you can also think that it's irresponsible and it's hurting other people. So just tap into that part of your brain that's saying like, oh, okay, it's probably not that important that this video stays online because truthfully, I've seen it, I've experienced the content, but it's done a lot of damage. We can just let it go. I'm sorry.
There's a few people in the chat saying he's deleting comments. I honestly don't think he is. I don't think he censors comments, to be honest with you. He is kind of sensitive, but I have no reason to believe that he's censoring critical comments. You know what I mean? Most of the top comments on a lot of his recent videos anyway are mean. He hasn't deleted them. So sometimes YouTube's just weird with comments. When you put a comment, it doesn't immediately show up at the top. It doesn't immediately show up. Sometimes it's just it will get buried and stuff, and it can be hard to find. I have no reason to believe he deleted comments. He probably has a filter that blocks out certain words, like the N word or something. I don't think if you comment about, I don't know, Sam Hyde or whatever, I don't think he is deleting those comments in defense of him. Thank you, Crystal, for becoming a member. Isaiah Shackelford for 5 says, I don't think it matters that he wants to move from his old content. It's how much he's whining and apologizing about it. Yeah, I agree. He can do what he wants at the end of the day. 20 Justin 1 for 5 says, Filthy Frank was way edgier and has never apologized. Still has a large fan base and has a spine. In fact, Filthy Frank created Ian's career. Thanks for the dono, buddy. G Mouse says, disavows his content but was fine making money off it for 6+ years. Well, in fairness, you can disavow stuff and still have the money from it. I don't think that's that. I don't think he needs to donate all the money or whatever, even if he does feel that bad about it. I don't think he needs to do that. You know what I mean?
Sorry to everyone that I made content cop videos on. I still don't like the majority of you, and that's fine, but I can recognize that you did not deserve the hate and harassment that I sent your way. I particularly want to apologize to Tana. Tana, I'm sorry.
Bugzug says, you know what concerns me? Why does he feel guilt over jokes? I'll never feel bad for my N-word. I'm not racist. I feel like Ian is betraying his true self to be a normie. I know Ethan is.
I should have never made that video. I harassed Tana in person and then harassed her online. And that's deplorable behavior. It's so stupid. I'm also sorry to all the black viewers and minority groups who had to put up with that video and put up with, the phrases. I said either it's all okay or none of it's okay. And that's just so dangerous and stupid. I have made content that I'm proud of over the years. It hasn't been as consistent as maybe I'd like it to have been. But, there is a lot of content that I think had a net positive on the world. And, I'm going to strive to continue on that trend. But again, I'm absolutely going to continue to make mistakes, but I want the mistakes to be a lot smaller and a lot less serious. I also want to give some clarity to the post-fight speech that I gave. I mean, it wasn't a speech. It was
I'm glad he's talking about this. I thought, because when that speech came out, and I predicted this, I mean, I guess you could say he's lying, right? When that speech came out, I was pretty sure that his meaning with it was just that he had like said the N-word a lot in the past or whatever, and some people may not like him for that, but he appreciated people coming to his event. A lot of people thought it was him like saying like, oh, the Sam Hyde fans don't like me. I didn't think it was that. I didn't think there was any way he would even acknowledge anything related to that at the event at the end of the day, because frankly, he had bigger concerns at the time. You know what I mean? Thanks for the $10, Doug. Vaping Granny for 5 says, I hate his Curtis Connor cut. I feel like I'm watching David Koresh's apology speech for leading his people wrong during the Waco siege. Kraken for 20 says, he never really offered a legitimate counter argument for his past, either all okay or none of it's okay for slurs. I mean, it was slurs for jokes. It wasn't like he was promoting white supremacy. I mean, that's basically I basically agree with that.
Phrase, I was like, I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but I really do appreciate the support, and thank you for coming. That was addressing the people over the years that I neglected and I left behind. The people whose feelings I, didn't take into consideration. Those are the people who I was addressing as, I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea.
And I figured that's what he was addressing, but I feel like you don't need to take everyone's feelings into consideration. You can't please everyone. And obviously he was being like particularly abrasive. Like he was particularly inflammatory with what he was saying. But at the same time, like, once again, you can't live your life trying to make sure everyone likes everything you do, or everyone's okay with everything you do, or every little thing you say is like tonally correct for the given time. And frankly, I think it's a mistake to look back at your old content from when this stuff was more acceptable and be like, I need to apologize. Like, it was just different. Everyone on YouTube at the time was doing this stuff. Literally everyone. Even before this, like Shane Dawson had like a blackface character. And if you want to say you've grown as a person, you feel like you should change, that's cool. But I think it's a big mistake to look back at past work that worked and was only praised at that time and act like you should have known better, or you needed to like repent for that. Like, it's just, I don't see it that way. I just don't. Anyone who thinks that I should be shouting the N-word from the rooftops, I don't want to be your cup of tea. Now I want to talk about, and I don't think he should say that. I don't, because you can't do that on YouTube. So I don't blame him for not doing that. I don't blame him for not even making Content Cop anymore. You can't blame him for that. You can miss it, but it's like Content Cop would not work on modern YouTube. Even old videos from years ago, like the Leafy one, got taken down for community guidelines around cyberbullying. So I feel like it makes sense to not do that content out of a sense of self-preservation. I miss it, but it's like, there's other stuff to watch, right? Life moves on, and that's just how it is. But this whole like explaining thing, like laboriously, like apologizing to everyone, like, I don't know, it just feels fake. Not fake as in he doesn't mean it. It feels fake as in like it doesn't need to exist. It's like a facade for security. He clearly does mean what he's saying. Events and situations that nobody wants to watch him scream slurs is such a red herring. I mean, some people do, but the thing is, like, I think what people really just want him to do is make good content. Like, that's it. And for the past while, he hasn't been really making content almost at all. Happened over the past 5 years of my life that have led me to the place I'm at now. Bugzug for 5 says, no, you don't understand. I've grown as a person. That's why I tried to make a hit piece on Sam Hyde, because I'm a better person. JA for 2 says you should make a video on Cyrax. That might happen. One year I was at a convention and a bunch of fans were, wanting pictures. And this particular fan came up to me and said, I know you probably don't like transgender people, but can I, get a picture? That smacked me in the face. I was like, oh, holy shit. Why would you think that? But I mean, it was fairly obvious. I was being cruel, hateful, bigoted, and being very uncaring about people's feelings. That is a very fair assessment to make. I was giving this person bad vibes, and I think I've given a lot of people extremely bad vibes. Another event that was very... That is interesting to me, because I never came away from his content thinking like, oh, he doesn't like trans people, or like, oh, he doesn't like black people. Like, I never thought that. I never came away from his content and was like, oh, it's time to not like it's time to not like black people. Like, that was never the impression that I got from anything, and I didn't think that anyone had that impression. I mean, undoubtedly there are a few people in the audience who did. If you're a really racist person and you hear someone make a racist joke, you're gonna think it's funny for a different reason than a non-racist, or someone who cares way less about that would take it, right? You're gonna take it differently. But everything will be taken differently. You know what I mean? Some people will take this video as an endorsement of Hassan Piker for president. Is that what he's saying? I don't think so. So you can't control what everyone thinks about what you say. You know what I mean? Important for me to experience was I went on a boxing podcast. I was basically like trying to walk back my Tana Content Cop.
I was still very like insecure and uncomfortable with the fact that I made that video, and but I was still coping. You'll see me struggle. And
there were so many memorable Idubbbz quotes that weren't edgy at all. Reese's Puffs was really funny, and there was no racism, like even like tangentially as like a joke. Like there was none of that. It was just a funny video of him dancing like a green alien. Like where was the like bigotry when he was in the green suit and he jumped down and said, "I'm fucking gay"? Is that really edgy? That just seems like stupid. Like there's no even statement there. It's just stupid. You know what I mean? And that's so much of his stuff. Or like it's about that time. Like that. Like what does that even mean? It doesn't mean anything. Gay Buzz Lightyear, thanks for the membership, says, Tom, I know you probably don't like gay spacemen, but like, can I get a picture? I'll get a picture with you inside the suit. Okay, we'll make room.
This clip to, say that it was wrong.
So I just wanted to let you talk on that, right? Because obviously using the N-word is definitely frowned upon by a lot of people, especially by a non-African American. But I was just curious.
That was a very weird video because I wanted to like criticize her for her like sort of flagrant use of it. I've been pretty flagrant about it too, not in the same way. I thought
he's clearly so uncomfortable, man. If someone just asked me like, why'd you say the N-word on Discord, I'd be like, it was just a joke. There's no other explanation. Like it was just a joke. You know what I mean? There's nothing else to say. He tries to like pontificate over this big point, which granted there was the point in the video of all of it's okay or none of it's okay. There was a message to it, but it's like you said the N-word in other videos too. Like you just thought it was funny. You just thought it was funny to say, right? Babe and Granny says funniest Idubbbz one was Peaches in the Sewer. That was a classic. Bugzug, thanks for coming to member.
I thought there was a message to be shared there, and I don't think it was particularly. It was okay in criticizing her, but I think I probably wasn't the person to deliver the message, if that makes sense. There was a message that I was trying to put out there, and like I'm not really the person to put out that message. I don't regret making the video. I think there's bits and pieces to take from it that I think are valuable, but I probably wouldn't make it these days.
He put still coping on his own. This isn't. I didn't add this, by the way. This is his own editing is there.
I've been pretty flagrant about it too, not in the same way. I thought there was a message to be shared.
There definitely is a message,
and
though.
I don't think it was particularly.
I mean, the clear message was just that Tana was like going after him for like being edgy and saying the N-word. Meanwhile, she clearly said the N-word in a racist context prior to that. Then she lied about it. And even beyond that, she was telling him to like kill himself. Like she's 18. She's a legal adult. I think it's okay to give her comeuppance. You know what I mean? She's a public figure. You can criticize her.
And like, I'm not really the person to put out that message. I don't regret making the video. I think, there's bits and pieces to take from it that I think are valuable. But I probably wouldn't make it these days. I'm very grateful to those guys and how they broached the subject because, it didn't put me on the defensive. It just made me realize, like, I'm stupid and I really need to, like, acknowledge these things. Like, what am I doing? I'm still trying to make excuses for myself and, like, why I made that video. It's like, it was a dumb idea. I harassed someone. I was saying slurs and I was trying to...
That person told you to kill yourself. It wasn't like, she wasn't some random bystander. Like, okay, this wasn't like some random, like, girl. She was a famous YouTuber, public figure, 18 years old, legal adult, and she was having a meet and greet, and she told you to kill yourself unprovoked, and it said the N-word. I just don't get it. I really don't understand what the big hang-up is over this particularly.
Justify it all. A very big thing that has sort of altered my view on all of this is just the amount of hate and harassment my wife, Anissa, has received over the years. She's had to deal with it from the beginning of our relationship, and I have done a horrible job at acknowledging her and her feelings for it. A lot of the time, I just thought that was her problem.
And I don't think it's all like Anissa. I don't think Anissa's the whole reason he changed. But when he has clips like this in it, like obviously people are going to take away that conclusion, right? Obviously people are going to take that away, and I find it very almost shocking that he never considered when he was making those videos that like he could have a relationship with someone who maybe, or like he would get like made fun of on the internet. Like I find that so perplexing. I feel like that has to be like the first consideration you make when you like make fun of someone online. Like it could happen to you. You know what I mean? Andy Key said, I think the only thing Ian did wrong was be cringe and poorly communicated, consistently changing viewpoints in retrospective online criticism. Outside of that, constant negativity feels parasocial. There's definitely a parasocial aspect to it, right? There's definitely a lot of more parasocial fans. I mean, I was talking to Harley about this the other day on stream, and he was just talking about, I think Richter asked, he was like, you think Sam and Idubbbz could ever be friends? And Harley was like, who gives a shit? Like, this is parasocial. Stop. Just enjoy the content. That's what he said. I mean, to an extent, I agree with that.
Or that was, other people's problem. Like, it's not my problem that you're getting hate and harassment. And it's like, no, it absolutely is. You know, that's the culture that I cultivated, and I, you know, didn't do anything to change that. You know, over the years it's changed a little bit, but you know, I don't think I've still fully acknowledged how responsible I am for the amount of harassment that Anissa has had to deal with. And this year, I decided to speak more candidly and be more open about who I am as a person, and to speak on my life a little bit more. And I did that on Anthony Padilla's podcast. These are the people that I'm attracting. These are the people that I'm entertaining. Like,
And the thing is, as far as the parasocial aspect, I think if you want to avoid that, constantly explaining yourself in your old content is not the way to go about it. That's only going to invite that more in. Like, if you don't want the parasocial shit, stop explaining. Just make your videos and fuck off. That's it. People will get the intention eventually. The ones who don't like it will stop watching, and the ones who do will come. And it's as simple as that, right? That's just like the marketplace of content. That's how it works. Mike for 10 says, despite him unlisting the Constant Cop videos, the origin of the N-word, F-word catchphrase is still up, funnily enough. That is funny. I guess maybe he just forgot about those real quick. I guess he just can't go through all his content at once and figure out which videos are offending. You know what I mean? Morgan says, of course you're upset about his apology. Skull emoji. Yeah, I'm upset. I'm mad.
I need to reevaluate things. They're relating and enjoying this content for a reason.
I hope this is the last one of these, though, for sure.
That's not
This is getting a little
maybe
sick.
the same reason that I'm
I'm
trying
getting a little
to
sick of it, I should say.
make. I had a very Wild West mentality when it came to online behavior. Like, people are going to do what they want to do. People are going to say what they want to say. And I can pretty much do the same because it's the internet. But I think you have to be a lot more responsible. If you
I don't think, I mean, you have to be somewhat responsible, undoubtedly. You have to be somewhat responsible, you know? You don't want to tell people to do bad things. You don't want to encourage terrible behavior, but like, you can't control everyone. You can't control what everyone does. You just can't. You can't make them do almost anything, you know? At the beginning of my videos, every single video, I include a disclaimer saying, don't fuck with people. And despite that, there's probably going to be a few people that see the video and go fuck with them and try to like harm them. That's not my fault. I make like documentaries on YouTube about weird people, and there's always going to be someone who takes it too far. That's just how it is. People are their own people. They're responsible for their own behavior.
you guys are at all interested in how I've arrived here, that video gives, you know, a good bit of context and talks about some of my life a little
Uncle
bit.
Joe says, Thomas Pyrene vote Trump. Lol.
There is a clip from this interview that's been floating around the internet.
I didn't even vote.
And it's me calling my fans antisocial and basement dwellers. And I was like, I didn't like, you know, interacting with my fans. I just want to be clear, like, that was my realization. I think a lot of people are like, of course that happened, is because you were creating that culture and you were attracting those people. And it's like, yes, I know. I know now. I didn't know before. It was my realization upon, you know, meeting more and more fans that I was like, oh, you guys are struggling. It was easy for me to identify them struggling when they were outside of my body. But the antisocial basement-dwelling incel that was inside here, I couldn't acknowledge that. I couldn't recognize that. So I needed the mirror to be held up to me. In closing, I want to say that I have always thought that I was an empathetic person because I thought, well, I get angry, I get sad. Of course I got empathy. Seems easy, right? Empathy. I definitely have that. There were moments where like a dog would die in a film and I'd cry. So it's like, of course I have empathy. But I never did. I think only in these past couple of years have I gained the ability empathy, and I'm very ashamed to admit that. It sounds really pathetic to say at the age of 32 I've acquired empathy, but I have, and I've realized it because I just like can't help myself but like feel for other people's pain and suffering now. I'm still not perfect. I think that is my empathy meter's only maybe like a
Once again, this is so wild. Like, you can feel for people's pain and suffering and also like not be a fucking, you don't have to cater your entire worldview and actions around other people feeling bad. You know what I mean? There's thousands of Africans starving right now. That's not going to stop me from eating at Five Guys. What the fuck am I going to do? You know? There's always someone hurting somewhere, Idubbbz. There's always someone with a problem. There's always someone with an issue. You can't change everything, okay? You can change what you do, but even what you're changing about what you do is like, it's nothing. Like donating the money to charity, that's cool, I guess. Donate to a black charity if you feel that bad, but making YouTube videos did not harm the state of the world. You didn't contribute to anti-trans or anti-gay sentiment in the country. You didn't. You made edgy YouTube videos. Nobody took it that way. Nobody thought you were anything serious. Like, did he think that that everyone took it as a serious political message when he dressed up like a retarded cop with an oversized suit and ran around? Did he think that people took it as a serious message when he was like eating sewer pickles? When he was being tackled by anything for views on the beach? When he was opening bugs from his mail from his fans? Like, I just don't get it, man. I really don't get it. Sid Beretta for 10 says, this whole response just felt so impotent. We all know how ashamed he is by his old content. The fact he feels the need to self-flagellate and endlessly repent in this weird leftist martyr complex. Yeah, it is kind of like he's like publicly cutting off a part of himself. Like he's publicly self-harming almost to like make people think he's cool now. Like, who does he want to impress with this? Hassan viewers? Like Ethan's new viewers? Like who is this really made for? The people he wants to make it for are not the people who want to see it, you know? People who already agree with him, they don't want to see it. The people who are like excited to eat him alive over this are his old fans who hate this, who are just going to down his throat for this stuff. You know what I mean? Joseph Brewington for 10 says, this weird mix of insecurity, but also thinking he's more important than he really is. Something happened since the Rice Gum content cop. The Rice Gum one was just like funny. That one was like also, that was like the weakest in my opinion in terms of like points, but it was also just really funny. And Rice Gum was a fucking asshole. Like, you feel bad for calling Rice Gum like Asian Jake Paul? Is that it? I really don't get it.
Quarter of the way filled up, potentially, but it's at least there. And I just want you guys to know that you can unlock ability empathy if you experience more life. It might take you getting hurt a little bit, but it's worth it. It is so worth it. So thank you.
How
for
you gonna
watching,
support a guy who
everyone.
proudly says the
I do want
N-word?
to create more regular content, and I don't want to just have the next 5 videos be apologies. So I have uploaded a squirrel video on my second channel. If you want to watch that, I guess as one final thing, I just want to thank everyone who's given me the space and the compassion to grow as a person, because it's taken longer than it probably should have. I appreciate everyone, and I think most importantly, I appreciate my wife, Anissa. She has been insanely compassionate and helpful and patient in allowing me to grow over the years, and has legitimately encouraged me to be a better person, and not a better person in just like Idubbbz becoming woke kind of way. She was the one who said that I should try this boxing thing. I would have never done that on my own because I was insecure and I was pathetic. I did this, and I am so glad I did. It's been amazing. So, Anissa, I love you. You're amazing. Right now you're streaming, but bon voyage, toodles.
What an unserious way to end an unserious video. Sorry for the autoplay. Yeah, not a great video. I hope he stops making videos like that, because I'm honestly sick of these dumbass explanations. You don't need to explain yourself. Leave a little bit up to interpretation. It's okay. You can't over explain yourself like this. That fucking sucked, bro. Did he actually make a squirrel vid, by the way? That's not real, right? Nobody cares, bro. Nobody gives a shit. Stop with the fucking squirrel videos, man. What are the comments like on that video? It's been one day, 1.4 million views. I would never have guessed the final content cop would be on himself. Yeah, this comment's crazy, dude. That's why. What is let's see here. You weren't funny because you were offensive. You're just a very funny dude. You can be the self-aware you and still be funny. I agree. What is critical? What is his video like? Situation 5 hours ago. What is his comment section like? To be fair, this is the most sincere and genuine apology video on the entire goddamn platform. If only he was apologizing for something that mattered. No disrespect, but it feels as if you didn't think about the fact that Idubbbz had impressionable young people watching his content, whether he wanted it or not, that his actions could have justified real hate no matter his intentions. Well, intentions also matter. Like, if you're a young person watching YouTube, and you need it to be explained to you that racism is bad, like, I don't know, you just grow out of that, man. You grow out of that. If you're a reasonable person, you grow out of thinking that racism is like the ideology you should adopt. You grow out of like thinking like, oh, he said the N-word. Like, maybe you thought that for 1 second when you were 14. Most 14-year-olds are probably racist for 1 second. I would argue it's almost important to have that belief at one point in time to move on from it, and understand why it's wrong. Because you do have to genuinely understand the other side of the argument. You know what I mean? Racists are people too, guys. Kirk Sparks for 10 says, people who feel bad for their past edgy humor were likely not being ironic and actually had hateful racist thoughts at the time. I only had black friends for years and I still laughed. The thing is, like, when you make like a funny joke around like black people, about the black community, they do think it's funny. If the only joke is like hateful shitting on them, like, they'll be like, fuck you. But if you make a funny joke about like any group, like, that group should be able to laugh at it if they're reasonable people, you know? That goes for everyone. White people should be able to laugh at white people being made fun of. Trans says, Transflamenco TV, sorry for 5, says, Ian made a bad unboxing video and he called it his fans for using slurs. He said if he thinks their slurs are funny on their own, then you're not funny. Yeah, there you go. Foxel Boxo says that was depressing. Leafy has won after all. I mean, I don't know if he won, but yeah, I don't know if he won. Panic Pun for 5 says, I thought he only started boxing because he got LASIK after Rice agreed to fight. Then Rice dropped, so Ian was in a pickle. Crystal for 5 says, did he really just say toodles? I'm cringing. Yikes. Bug Jug says, who's more annoying at this point, Ian or Ethan? Ethan. James the Frog pretends this whole thing is just late apology, buzzword, taking accountability, and talking down to his fans. None of this drama would have happened if he had just changed without being gay about it. I mean, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's always been comedy, never had some higher negative agenda to his content that he's acting like his content did. The thing is, if you did used to be bigoted, I don't think Ian was, but if you used to be a bigot, like, it's okay to change and not be like that anymore. That's a good thing. But you don't need to retroactively apologize for finding things funny. You can find the same stuff funny. You can. It's okay to find edgy humor funny. Everyone does. Millions and millions of people listen to Dave Chappelle make jokes about trans people, and they think it's funny. And most of them don't even hate trans people. They don't give a shit. They don't. Do some people take it that way? Yeah. But those people didn't like trans people anyway. And if a joke leads you to hate trans people, then you're a fucking idiot. If a joke leads you to hate black people, then you're a dumbass. And hopefully you grow out of that eventually. It's that simple, bro. Okay. With that being said, I think we're done with this video. If you guys have any thoughts in the comments, you can share it. Hopefully he stops making these videos. I'm sick of it. But you know what? I'll subscribe to him on this channel. I think I'm already subbed on the main channel, but I'll sub on this one. Hopefully the content changes a little bit. Hopefully he puts up some entertaining stuff. He's shown to me that he's talented outside of that stuff. The Airsoft Fatty video, and a lot of people think there's like static with Ian and him now, and people feel bad for Fatty. That's still a good video. It's still good. And there was no edginess to that. That's just like filming some like dumbass in the fucking middle of the country and in bum nowhere and seeing what his life is like. And that was cool. That was cool. I like that. And I hope he does more like that. Because that, honestly, that video, like, creatively, I found like inspirational. That was a really good video. And it's not like it didn't get as many views as like a Content Cop would. I mean, literally the most viewed video, oh, well, in fairness, the Content Cops are gone now, but the most viewed video apart from Content Cop was that. 23 million views. That's crazy. If he had kept doing that, imagine how big he would have been. I'm excited for the content. I actually, unironically, want to see more content from him because he's clearly a talented guy despite his weird insecurity about this.